Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in today's video I want to share some of my best lifestyle and herbal tips for taking care of your beautiful brain. This is something that I'm assuming is just as important to you as it is to me. I want to get to the end of my life not just with physical health, but with full mental clarity and cognitive function, and I'm sure that's what all of us want. So let me give you a little bit of information that you probably already know about your brain, but maybe not. So your brain weighs about 1.5 kilograms, which is just a little over 3 pounds, and it makes up approximately 2% of your body weight. But here's the interesting thing. Your brain uses 20% of the energy that your body produces, and we mostly get that energy from the foods that we eat and the supplements that we take. So the food that you eat is critically important because your brain uses up 20% of that. Now here's the thing, once we get to around the age of 40, we lose 5% of our cognitive function every decade. So as a person who's getting ready to, I'm almost a couple years in to my 6th decade, thinking about my cognitive and brain health is of utmost importance to me because I want to get to the end of my life, not just with a healthy body, but with a supremely healthy brain. I want to be able to critically think. I want to recognize my family and friends. To me, this is one of the most beautiful things about being a human being is being able to communicate and make the best decisions for ourselves. So I've written down a list of the best foods, in my opinion, from my research and the way I've taken care of my health, that are good for your brain. Fatty fish, I put at the top, things like salmon, trout, albacore tuna, herring, and sardines. All super high in omega-3 fatty acids, which is really, really important for cognitive health. Coffee, mainly due to the caffeine and the powerful antioxidants. And you can also put into this green tea. 2 beverages, super, super good for cognitive function. Blueberries, and I want to read this because this one is really important. Blueberries are mainly on this list because of their high concentration of antioxidants, some of which accumulate in your brain and help improve communication between brain cells. Cool, right? So then we've got turmeric, we've got broccoli, we've got pumpkin seeds. Now pumpkin seeds, because of this, they're rich in many of the micronutrients that are important for brain function, including copper, iron, magnesium, and zinc. Nuts, especially walnuts, they have a lot of omega-3s, and they also contain vitamin E and other healthy fats and plant compounds. Oranges and eggs, those are my favorites for brain function. Now, my favorite herbs to cook with, which are good for your brain health, are rosemary and sage. Those are my 2 top. You can even take rosemary and kind of mash the little needles of a rosemary between your fingers and just the smell of it. And that's aromatherapy. You even get benefit from smelling rosemary, even rosemary essential oil. But rosemary and sage are my top 2 favorite ones to cook with. But then we have cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, ginger, cardamom, and then again I've got turmeric on here. Now I'm going to put this in here because this is important. Now the 7 foods that I feel are the worst for your brain health, and I'm not going to go into any details, I'm just going to list these off. And some of these you probably know. Sugary drinks, refined carbs, foods that are high in trans fats, highly processed foods, aspartame. Look for that on any label. If there's something that's sugar-free, something that's a diet, if it has aspartame, do not consume it. Terrible for your brain. Alcohol and fish that is high in mercury, like things like shark and swordfish. And even some kinds of tuna can be high in mercury. So really do some research with these things that you put into your body. Now I'm going to say one quick thing before I move on about alcohol. Alcohol, plain and simple, neurotoxin. If you're going to have a glass of wine, a beer, a cocktail, make it on a very sporadic basis, and then maybe add something into your nutrition on the days that you are going to do alcohol, like broken cell wall chlorella. Sometimes I like to do activated charcoal. That's typically if I maybe have 2 glasses of wine, which is rare. But the thing is you really want to pay attention and think about what you're doing when you drink alcohol. It's just not good for your brain. Bottom line, nothing redeeming about it. Okay, now the lifestyle things, these are all things that you know. But it's always good to have a reminder, right? So try a new activity is at the top of the list. Something that's going to make your brain fire those new neurons, that's going to give you brain function and improve your cognitive ability, because your brain is your hungriest organ. Think about that. Oxygen, it needs oxygen and circulation. You can't go very long without oxygen without doing some type of brain damage. So you can actually eat foods, do lifestyle factors, and there are herbs that will actually improve the oxygen and circulation to your brain. So some of these things are just as simple as adding them in and paying attention to what they are. So try something new. So this can be even like learning a new language. I have a friend who's around my age, and she's just now learning how to drive a stick shift, and she's doing it because she wants to keep her brain function sharp, and she's always looking for things to try that are new for her, and I love that. And you can really pick anything you want. So some type of activity that stimulates your brain. Keep moving, exercise. Exercise immediately gives you oxygen and circulation. Think about that. That's one of the many reasons that you're encouraged by myself and many other people to exercise daily. Make sure you sleep well. Get social. Improve your social life and really focus on staying social. So good for your brain. Manage your blood pressure, manage your blood sugar, manage your stress, all things to manage. Protect your head if you're doing, like, you're a bike rider, you get on a motorcycle, if you're a skier, if there's any type of activity that will preserve your brain function, because if you fall and you hurt, you knock your head, you're going to have a helmet on if you're doing a sport. Take the steps, wear the helmet. And I would like to include in that, put a seatbelt on. You never know when you might get, someone will back end you, or, hopefully you're a defensive driver, but when you have the opportunity to take the steps to protect yourself with these simple little things, do it. And that is a very simple, easy thing that all of us can do. Now, some of my favorite herbs, and this is one thing I'm going to end on, because this is something that I feel is super, super easy. All of us can do. And this is something that I have spent a lot of time researching, herbs that are good for cognitive function. Now, about 9 years ago, I brought out a formula that I consider absolutely inspired. And it's called Brain Glow. And many of you have this as a part of your daily routine. And I will tell you, since I brought this out, there has not been one day that I have skipped. I travel with it. I make sure that it is in a place where I always have access to it. There probably have been times when I've skipped, because I know there's been times I've noticed a difference because I don't have it. And it's one of those things that if you haven't heard me tell this story, then I'm going to tell this really quickly. So this is the way that I have come to formulate when I have a new formula that is kind of giving me a little knock, 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 like, hey, we need something for liver health. Hey, we need something for lung health. I actually have a kidney formula that is getting ready to come out in the next few weeks. So with this Brain Glow, this was the first formula that I felt was really, truly inspired. But it's not just something that just comes to me. I have to research first. So what I did is I sat down and I started deeply researching all of the herbs that are good for brain health, cognitive function, memory, energy, focus, and dementia prevention, Alzheimer's prevention. This I started formulating right around the time, right after I turned 50. I was like, okay, I really want to keep my brain sharp, and I want to recognize my kids and my grandkids when I'm a little old lady, and I want to still be sharp and functioning. And if you think about that, when we have a sharp functioning brain, we're able to make the best decisions as we walk through this life. So that to me has always been something that's really important. So I started researching. I went through my dad's books, I went online, and over a few months period, probably a little more than a year, I compiled a list of about 48 herbs that I knew had some impact on the brain. And then what I did is I took this notebook full of all my notes and full of all these herbs that I knew were good for the brain, and I went into a really quiet place. And on purpose, I knew that this was going to be a formula that was going to be really special. So I went to this place on purpose, and this is basically my office on a weekend when nobody's there. And a couple hours later, I had this dialed down to 8 specific herbs that would provide oxygen and circulation to the brain. It would nourish it, it would give it the proper nutrients, it would help bring some calmness, clarity, energy, focus, and without the stimulation of things like caffeine. And I'm not against caffeine in the right amounts. Every person's a little bit different. Some people are sensitive and can't do it. There's all the nuances of that. I wanted something that everyone could take. And I knew again that there would be outliers on the outside of this that maybe couldn't take one of the herbs that were in it. Like, for example, one of the herbs that is in this is ginkgo biloba, which is one of my all-time favorite brain supportive herbs. But it has natural blood thinning properties, and if someone is on a prescription blood thinner, they shouldn't take something like ginkgo. So I knew that there were going to be people on the outskirts who couldn't do it, but I also knew that the vast majority of human beings that this had the potential to affect would be able to take these herbs that were in it. So when I sat in this quiet space with all of my research, I will tell you this formula felt inspired. I could literally look at a herb and say, nope, cross that one off. Nope, cross that one off. And when I would come to one like ginkgo, again, all these were deeply researched, this would get a circle. And at the end, I had these 8 herbs. And this formula has proven to be a total game changer. And the herbs, so we've got ginkgo, gotu kola, periwinkle, ashwagandha, Chinese ginseng, schizandra berry, skullcap, and water hyssop. And I also really love lion's mane. Now, lion's mane is not in this formula, but here's a little bit of a spoiler alert. In about 2 months, I'm filming this the middle of February of 2023. So if you're watching this at a later date, it's probably already out. But in about 2 months, we have a beautiful lion's mane product that is coming into our lineup, because it's a mushroom. It's a beautiful mushroom that literally looks like a lion's mane as it comes out of, grows on trees mostly, and it is amazing for cognitive function. So this was the procedure that I use to formulate Brain Glow, and this has become a staple, I know, for many of you, and I am humbled and honored and grateful that I was able to not just carry on my dad's work, but I do believe I have inspiration from him on a regular basis, and especially when I'm in the process of formulating. So herbs that can impact your brain are really, really super easy to take. Now, we've had the Brain Glow in capsule form out for about 9 years, and about 2 years ago we brought out Brain Glow in liquid. So it has the exact same 8 herbs, but they are extracted in a concentrated tincture and then also extracted and put into a reduced alcohol. Because what I found is over the years, many people were using this for their kids, people who maybe couldn't swallow capsules and maybe needed to do a lower dose. So take a look at these things and do some research on your own. And in the meantime, really take a look at the food that you're eating, the exercise you're getting, the social connections you're making, and all of these things that are extremely important for the health of your beautiful, brilliant brain. Where we are in the world right now, I feel, is extremely important that we are at the top of our mind game, that we can go into these next few years and make the best decisions as we move forward as humanity. this is what it's going to take, is for us to be able to say, this is for me, this is not for me. This is where I want to go along the path of life. And I also believe that when we take care of our physical body and our brain on this level, that our consciousness is able to vibrate in those higher realms of love and joy and courage and all of these things that are going to not just raise the consciousness of ourselves and the people in our close proximity, but this is going to help raise the consciousness of everyone on the planet. You know, this is such a beautiful time to be alive, and I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to put a link to these products below this video. And if you would like a PDF of our catalog, please put in the comment section your email, and I will send you an email with a link to our catalog, and it will give you all of the information in detail of all of these things that I'm talking about with the herbs that are in the Brain Glow. So thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you have any questions, and we will talk to you next time.